Good morning. I am George Herbig, Chief Forecaster here with Weather Now Kentucky. We do have a snow update for you regarding today's snowfall that we're expecting. Sorry if you hear my dog in the background. He's being quite hyper today. Good morning. Welcome in. Good morning. Welcome in. Of course, as always, if you would not mind, tap that share button as you're coming into the broadcast. The share button's at the bottom portion of your screen. That gets the video onto your news feeds. That way your friends and family can view. Also achieve our goals of getting so many shares on each broadcast. So thank you guys so much for your help with that and also helping others to get informed. I know we have a lot of travel today, especially with the Kentucky-Louisville game ongoing and a few other events here in the state. So I know there's a lot of questions about traveling throughout the state. Also, of course, people going back home from the holidays, so on and so forth. We are live on both YouTube and the Facebook this morning. Vicky, hello over on YouTube. Stephanie, good morning to you. Karen, good morning to you. We appreciate you guys on YouTube. Thank you guys so much. Charisse, Anissa, thank you guys for sharing the broadcast on Facebook. Once again, if you are just now tuning in here, you have not missed a thing. We're going to go over the latest forecast that we're putting out. We're also going to look at the current radar, see where things are happening, what it's looking like. Also look at the model data as well. Lexi, good morning, my friend, out of Owensboro. But yeah, overall, really cold morning. We're actually going to go above freezing here for a little bit. We'll show you that. And then temperatures absolutely crash. Behind this system, by the way, we do see another Clipper system possible in a few days. And then perhaps a big boy event somewhere in early December. We won't go into that too much at this point. For now, this broadcast is about today's event, so I don't want to go too far ahead of ourselves. But Sharice, with the 200 stars already getting started, thank you for your kindness. Can't stay, but thank you for you and the team keeping us prepared. Sorry, that was really racking my brain for a second. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Shannon, thank you for the share on the broadcast. All right, I won't waste too much of your time. Let's go ahead and roll into things here. So here's our current radar, obviously, presented by WeatherWise. We're using WeatherWise's radar. By the way, phenomenal radar, and it's free. I guarantee you're not going to find a better radar for free. So if you're one of those radar people like me, of course, make sure you get WeatherWise, weatherwise.app. Here's that radar look at in Missouri right now, stretching back over toward Kansas. That is our event right now. Now, this is not precipitation type, so this is not just rain. Don't get fooled. This is actually mostly snowfall. This is just what we call reflectivity. Shows us the rate of the precipitation falling for the ground. This is not type of precipitation. So do not be fooled. This is not all of a sudden rain. This is snow. And this is starting pretty as forecasted. The only difference is there's a little bit more activity on the front side. And of course, you can see the heat dome of St. Louis at work. They're under a dry slot there. They've been under a dry slot. It is starting to get worked over now. But overall, so far, how things are starting back here in Missouri and Kansas, that's important for us to watch throughout the next few hours to see how our system, because this is our system, right? And to see how it will look as it heads toward Kentucky and Indiana. One thing we need to watch carefully is to see which side of the Ohio River wins today. So I do think the highest snowfall total, by the way, we do have our forecast ready. I will show you that. If you are just not tuning in, you have not missed that. I do think the highest total in the forecast is going to be somewhere along the Ohio River, whether it's 25 miles north or 25 miles south. You can flip a quarter at this point. We have identified it as a little bit south of the Ohio River, so into Kentucky. But quite honestly, you can almost flip a quarter. So that's what we're watching right now and over the next couple of hours, seeing how this trends as this track sees. By the way, do not be fooled. Once again, this is not rain. This is reflectivity. This is all snowfall, okay? I just have it on the reflectivity mode to see how heavy it's coming down. Pretty light, even some moderate stuff happening here, but look on the back side of the event. Heavier snowfall happening on the back side. So what we're going to start with today is lighter, a little bit more fluffier snow, maybe mixed with a little bit of rain. And then by the time sun sets, that's when we'll see our heavier snow bands start to move in, especially by late tonight. I think I put it on the image here. I'll go ahead and show you this, and then we'll look at the model data. By the way, again, you haven't missed too much if you're just not tuning in here with us. But I'll show you the model data here in a second as well. I think I put it on this graphic here. 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. Eastern time is the prime time for snow tonight. So there will be snow outside of that window. Again, 3 p.m. to 4 a.m. But the prime time for snow, where the heavier stuff comes down, I think we're probably looking at late tonight for that, which is good for you snow lovers, which means that a lot more of that will stick because the sun is no factor at that point. So looking at the radar or model data here with you, this is the newest data coming in. This cannot see the entire storm fully, I don't think. No, it cannot. But you can see overall, let's go ahead and zoom into the local view. Overall, pretty similar to what we saw last night. If anything, it's a bit more snowy than what we saw last night. So pushing this on forward, this is valid for about noon Central Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. You can see that rain-snow band approaches Illinois, Kentucky, Indiana corridor at that point. I can tell you, I think it will be a little bit faster than that. Just again, looking at this, it's already, let's go ahead and click on this radar here. It's already entering Illinois at here at the 10 a.m. hour Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Central Time. So I do think it'll be a tick faster than what the model data is showing. Pushing this on forward to 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. You can see that rain and snow is now entering portions of Kentucky. Keep an eye on this, though. At first, a lot of this that's going to show up on your radar will probably not reach the ground. The reason for that is your dew points currently are too cold. They're too dry. They're too dry. I would say that in the southwestern portion of the state, where, of course, it's not going to really snow today, it is a little bit warmer, more moist than what the model data did show. So maybe there are some signs of some faster moistening of the atmosphere. We'll keep an eye on that, of course. If there is a little bit faster, it won't change a whole lot of our forecast, but it will make it maybe a smidge more wet. We'll keep an eye on that, though. But as you can see, pulling this back, a lot more rain and snow. Pushing it forward a couple of hours, you can see some dry slots like toward Evansville, toward Henderson, up down toward Madisonville. Some dry slots kicking in there. That's going to be as forecasted. So if you pull up your WeatherWise radar later on today and you're going to message us and be like, George, hey, I'm in a dry slot right now. Is this going to affect our snowfall totals? No. We have factored those into the forecast. We know this is going to happen. So pushing this on forward to 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Some of those dry slots starting to be overcome now. Again, it takes about 90 minutes or so to get those dry slots a lot more moist to get saturated, to support, snowfall, rainfall, whatever it may be. Takes a little bit to happen, but it does eventually happen near that sunset hour. Again, that's what we've been talking about. Once that sunset comes, that's when things will really start to kick on a little bit here in Kentucky. Pushing us forward a couple more hours toward the 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time frame. See some snowfall actually on this model run, making it well down into Bowling Green, down to the Tennessee and Kentucky border. I don't have a 100% faith in that. And if you do see snowfall, this will probably be the only window where you do if you're down in Bowling Green. Again, I don't have much faith of this going any further south in the parkways. But if it does, enjoy the flakes. It'll probably just be for 30 or 40 minutes. Pushing this on forward to 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, still has that snow rain line and then dry line around the parkways. This is about where I think it will set up. So if you're south of the parkways today, you may see a few flakes, some rain, but not a whole lot of activity at all in your neck of the woods. Maybe off and on for a couple of hours, but not a whole lot of activity at all. You see here, it's the heart of Kentucky, just to the northwest of Elizabethtown, going into Breckenridge and Meade counties. A darker blue showing up there. Those are signs, of course, of some heavier snowfall occurring at this at this hour. Sorry. Pushing us forward to 10 to 11 p.m. Eastern Time, that heavier band is now pushed east of I-65 and along I-65 in the heart of Hardin County, going to Nelson County, and then out toward Lexington and the Danville areas. Pushing us on forward 11 p.m. Eastern Time, you can see that heavier snowfall actually setting up over the Danville area just to the north of Somerset. I'm not 100% positive that happens there. I think it's a little bit more north. I think we're talking about the heavier snow band probably being a little bit more north toward the I-64 corridor. But I want to point out that I did make the post earlier. Guys, I would not be surprised if we see some people, even a good chunk of people, overachieve today. With these clipper type of systems, you have areas within these systems, right, that overachieve. On the same hand, you have areas that underachieve. A little dry slot action, maybe a little bit more than what we're projecting. And then in some areas, the dry slot action might not be there, right? So in these clipper type of systems, there are always going to be people that overachieve. There's always going to be people that underachieve. So, if you ask me, if I look over here and I see any comments asking if there are possibilities for underachieving or overachieving, absolutely. Matter of fact, I would probably bet on it. I wouldn't be surprised if we wake up tomorrow or go through our analysis tomorrow morning and we see that somewhere in Kentucky someone hit 3.5 inches or so. It would not surprise me. And then one of these places that are supposed to get 1 to 2 inches would surprise me if you end up with a 1/2 inch. I mean, that's just how clippers go. We try our best to be bold and point it out and not be soft like some other outlets and just put a blanket coverage on there. But that's just how it goes. So, push this on forward to 11 to about midnight, 1 a.m. Eastern Time. A heavier band wants to sit up along the Ohio River, stretching toward the I-65 corridor. Lighter snows ongoing from Pikeville to Lexington to Somerset. Some dry slots mixing in here once again. We have factored this into our forecast totals. And then, of course, 1 to 2 a.m. Eastern Time, the heavier snow bands now pushing to the east. Lighter snows ongoing north of 64 corridor and south of 64 corridor, but not to include the 64 corridor. Now, this is as far out as this model goes, so we'll go back to an older run, and I'll kind of show you beyond that hour. And here it is, 2 to 3 a.m. Eastern Time. The heavier snow band now pushing through, and then kind of just on and out of the area about 5 a.m. Eastern Time, 6 a.m. Eastern Time or so. And then it's just kind of scooting on out to the mountains at that point. Some light, fluffier snows at that point. For this model, I'll go ahead and show you real quickly. For this model data, it wants to throw down about 1 inch to 2 inches of snowfall, not accumulation. So you have to remember, a little bit of this is going to melt. About 30% of this will melt. But it does point out the potential for a heavier band along that I-64 corridor. Let's say northern Hardin County, like from Radcliffe to points north, and then going to places like Breckenridge, Meade County, northern Daviess County, then up toward the Indiana areas, and then down toward Lexington. You'll note that this looks a lot like our forecast. And we made our forecast yesterday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. The only reason I changed it today was to make it a little bit more clean cut. Really, overall, we didn't really change too much. I'll show you our new forecast here in a moment. I want to give you quick messages from our sponsors real quickly. You guys know how this stuff rolls. We would not be able to do what we do without our partners. FBI Buildings is a Midwest post-frame construction company servicing Kentucky since 1958. They are currently running a 20% off promotion. 20% off of any pole barn repair or renovation project through December 13th. You can call 800-552-2981 or visit FBIbuildings.com to cash in on that money savings for your projects through December 13th. So make sure that your buildings are taken care of to withstand the winter, which you're going to want to do because this winter may be an active one. Just a little teaser for our Wintercast video. One last message real quick from Right Implement. Here you go.
I enjoy seeing things grow. It's a fun process to be able to put a seed in the ground and seeing what comes from it. We always enjoy going to Wrights because they're always very helpful, and when we're in a need, they always get it done for us.
If we break down the field, I make a call to Right Implement, and they always have someone out within a reasonable amount of time. I've been working with Right Implement for several years and wouldn't recommend any other dealer.
Thank you so much for our sponsors. We appreciate them. Right Implement, weather-wise, Creature Comfort in, FBI Buildings. Thank you guys so much for allowing us to do what we do here. So here is our forecast for tonight. Of course, today through tonight, the overnight, going into Sunday morning. These are what the snowfall totals should look like, according to some of the science that we've done here, by Sunday morning. So this is not going to be what's on the ground tonight. This is going to be what's on the ground by the time this all ends Sunday morning. About 1 to 2 inches or so for along that I-64 corridor, like we mentioned. Now, again, I think with that zone could probably move around a little bit, quite honestly with you. We're going to keep you updated throughout today, throughout the duration of the event. We'll let you know if that changes. Of course, look out for posts from us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, whatever it may be. I think that zone could probably move around a little bit. We'll have to play that kind of by ear. Just being real honest with you. I could lie to you and have 100% faith in our forecast. I think our forecast is about 90% confidence. But I do think one thing that can change is that heavier band. It could honestly set up E-Town to Owensboro. It could set up Lexington to Moorhead. It could set up right where it's at. Just quite truly with those, again, with the Clipper type of systems, that overachieving could absolutely happen. And then up to 1 inch surrounding that in that little softer blue area. The big blue area, E-Town, Danville, Jackson, Pikeville, Ashland, Florence, so on and so forth. And then that light blue area, perhaps a dusting, maybe even up to about a ½ inch. Southern Daviess County down to Litchfield, Danville, Somerset, Southern Harlan to be included in that as well. And then that red zone, then that green zone is a rain-snow mix. And you could still see a little bit of a trace or a little coating of snow in this zone, wouldn't surprise me. But mainly a rain-snow mix in that area. Then down toward southern Warren County, going down to the Tennessee-Kentucky border, and then so on and so forth. Don't really see a whole lot for you. You could see a few flakes and some rain today. You'll see rain if anything. If you're in that white zone, you'll see rain if anything today. You may see a few flakes mix in, but don't get too excited. Even if you do, it's not going to last very long, unfortunately, for you snow lovers down there. So overall, that's how we think the snow is going to play out today. Could there be some slick spots? Absolutely, there will be, especially if you're in one of those darker blue or dark blue zones. Definitely some slick spots going to be setting up in those areas, even despite, I know you guys are going to say, well, the road temperatures are too warm. No. For example, when you you have a cup, I've said this quite often, but I think it's such a good metaphor, I want to say it again. When you have a cup of room temperature water, right, and you go put 2 or 3 ice cubes in there, your cup of water is your road. Your ice cubes are your snow. Okay, so follow along here with me. If you put 2 to 3 ice cubes in that cup, those 2 to 3 ice cubes are going to melt pretty fast in that room temperature water. But if you put 20 or 30 ice cubes in that cup of water, well, it takes longer to melt. Same thing for snowfall on a warm roadway. Even if it's warm outside, or that road temperature was warm, or the ground temperature is warm, right? It will take longer to melt because the snowfall rates will be heavy enough to overcome that warm surface temperature. So that's why we think there is the ability, especially in those bluer zones, for some slick spots. Even down there in the green zone, if let's say you drop all the way down to 25 degrees, I don't think you drop it. I think the low tonight is about 28 degrees. But let's say something weird happens and you get all the way down to 25, and now you're talking about a flash freeze. So even the ability is there for places like that green and very light blue or teal zone, whatever you want to call it. The ability is there. Again, you have to get down to 25. I think the 28 is probably the low for tonight. But yeah, so I do absolutely think some slick spots are possible tonight. Let me see if there's some questions in here we can get to for you guys. Megan with the 20 stars, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for your 20 stars. I appreciate you. Let's see here. Thanks for the color change, so much easier to see. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it, but I understand it makes it a little bit easier to see. Sam, thank you for that as well. Gail, thank you. Yes, W sponsors, we appreciate them. William Misty Smith, thank you for sharing the broadcast. Melinda, thank you for sharing the broadcast. I'm not seeing a lot of questions, which means we've done a good job at explaining things for the first time around here. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. I'm George Herbig, Chief Forecaster here with W&K. I don't think we'll do another live broadcast today unless some things change. Or we may just do a live broadcast and hang out and look at the snow with everyone. Anyway, look out for updates on Twitter and Facebook. We appreciate you. Until next time, stay safe, Kentucky.